abortion talk. I didn't realise I was pregnant. No, I didn't. I had no clue. So I was late in that respect. Late in going to see a doctor. And when I went, I discussed my options with her. At that time, with the human I was with, I had sort of decided we just weren't the greatest match, and I wanted to sort of leave the relationship. He was very keen to keep it going, and I think he was a very good man. He just wasn't the right man for me at that time. Anyway, so that was the situation. I realised I was pregnant and I went to a doctor. Now the doctor, I believed, was very professional. At that point, I was very naive. I believed you believed every word that professionals said. I believed that they were ethical, and I believed in the professional and the expert. I had that stupidity about me that they were always much more informed, much better, knowing what was right for me than me. So I followed that, and I have done throughout my life. I don't anymore. I always trust my own judgment first, and then go with the advice after that. But I didn't at the time, and that's a little thing about age and wisdom and about going through life experiences, which I didn't have at that time, and I was 25. So I trusted, and the professional said to me that I was still within the time. I hadn't left it too late to go to a clinic. So that was that. So I was assessed, and I, with my partner, so he came, he took me, he brought me back from the clinic. So he was at the time fully supportive. A person that wasn't fully supportive would never have done that. And so it was a joint decision, the two of us. So I went to the clinic, he took me, and I had the abortion. They assessed me at the time and assessed, I didn't show any bump. I wasn't big enough to show a bump, but they assessed that I could have the abortion. So 2 sets of professionals in UK, where it was legal at that point and seen as often encouraged. Times have changed. A long time ago now, over 20 years, but thinking's changed. And the thinking at that time was totally different to the thinking now. And in England, it was accepted. Among many of the girls around my age, I wouldn't say it was seen as common, but in my circles, it was a lot of, I had known a lot that had abortions. So that was my culture, my background, and who I was mixing with at the time. I don't justify anything, but what I'm saying is it wasn't seen as doing something wrong, and there wasn't the information there is now about what happens within the body. That there hadn't been the headspace for that thinking at that time. We were talking a total different generation. And I think that you listeners have to appreciate that times were changed and have been changed since we know much more now. And knowing what I know now, if I'd known that then, well, I would have took and chosen a different decision. But you can't go back, and I've never regretted the decision. What I have regretted is the amount of aggression I've had being targeted over something I did legally and followed the experts in the UK. And I've had a lot of people call me a killer over it. They have done extreme, severe actions towards me over twins, over babies. I've had countless motions towards me of real fierce cruelness, aggression, and people don't see me in any way for everything that I had to tolerate around many other targets as well, which my other videos show, but abortion is definitely one. Somebody wanted to really push home around me so that they could divide and change laws in many countries, and they used me as one of the scapegoats. They did. And scapegoats for a lot of different law changes, not just the abortion law. And I have to say that, and it's seen. Even in places like Afghanistan, it's seen. This is why this talk is important. And I have to say that that's it. So I had the abortion. It was painless at the time. And I had the suction. And I did get told it was 2 sacks. So that information was correct about it being 2 sacks. So I got dropped off at home. And the consequence was that I eventually went back to work. But before that, I was very sick. I had lost a lot of blood. I had continuous bleeding. I was extremely tired and I was very ill. And decided with my friend and her children and my son that we would all go on a holiday. So we went on a holiday to Crete. Nearly all the holiday, most of the holiday, I didn't want to go away from the apartment or the pool. So that was my holiday for me, because I just really was really unwell. And for over the next year or so, I was really sick, hemorrhaging constantly. So I did have some kind of consequence from it wasn't, even though at the time it happened it was a smooth abortion, it turned out not to be at all. So that's about my abortion, and why I've talked about it is just because I've gave detail in what I've just said, my statement. This is a form of testimony to my life, to one of the many attacks that I've had, which is really cultivating around greed and money, and utilising the trafficking. So, which is what a lot of this mostly is all about. A strong group at the very top, an elite group, utilising me as the weapon, as the tool to change laws for their agenda. Anyway, that's my talk on that. I just wanted you to know that, because it's all out there. It's been all out there for years, because some people never want to leave me alone. They want to monitor me 24/7, as if they see me as a really bad human. I'm many times in a room where people have done really bad crimes. I've never been charged with a thing. One, and it's not criminality, that's why I'm saying it, one car crash, and I was at fault there, and I said initially, straight away, I'm at fault at this. I don't hide from any crimes. I run towards them. If somebody thinks I've done a crime, they need to come and talk to me about it, because this is not about my guilt. This is about another group's guilt, trafficking me for years and using the targeting of every kind of staged frame to change laws, but also to hide their crime of the trafficking, the horrendous trafficking, and the deaths and the consequences from that. Thank you very much. I am Kimamanda Jackson.